Good morning, everybody. This is the video for the second play in the Wrath Guard. Luckily, we were allowed to come home last night. We had been evacuated from the fires, and with the exception of a fine layer of ash over everything, our house came through unscathed. There was no damage. We never lost power, and the air quality is pretty good today, so we're going to film this video. As always, I'll give you the translation and then my shorthand. So Meyer has this to say for the second play from the Wrath Guard. When you stand in the Wrath Guard, and your opponent cuts at you from his right against your left, then slide over your head and under his blade with a step forward on your right foot, and catch his cut on your flat so that your thumb stands underneath and the blade hangs down by your left side somewhat toward the ground. And when it clashes, then step with your left foot toward his right side and wind the short edge under his sword inward at his head, as shown by the middle scene in image L. Now when you have wound, then hold your sword with the short edge on his sword and wrench with your sword upwards to your right, as the small figures in the middle of image F teach you, etc. So that at the end of the wrenching you cross your hands in the air and strike him with the inside flat at his lower right opening, yet such that your hands remain up. And as soon as he slips after to parry, then do not let it connect, but pull back up and deliver a clashing cut at his left ear, and in this stroke, let the blade swing deep in, palm away from him, and thus swiftly fight away from him. So, this is actually one of my favorite sequences in the section on fighting from the postures. So what Meyer is telling us to do is that we're going to be in this Wrath Guard, and clearly, especially if we're in a middle guard and then we maybe step forward to a Wrath Guard, we're clearly baiting this headshot. So what we're going to do is the slide is actually coming from the shoulder forward over the head. We're going to do this with a step to the right, and so we're going to catch the opponent's cut on our flat with our thumb underneath with this step. Now we're going to step out with the left, and we're going to do a wind and cut behind their sword. From here, we're going to wrench back and throw an inside flat to that lower right opening with the high hands. We've seen that several times. If you want to just throw a cut, I think that there's no problem with that. From there, the clashing cut is essentially we're going to hit their blade and let it slide down. And so we're going to get this nice arc angle. That's how we're going to get this kind of deep angle, and then we're going to lead with the cut. So my mental shorthand is Wrath Guard, step and slide, step out, wind cut, lower opening, clashing cut to the high opening, step out, cutting away. I particularly like this kind of winding cut, so when I'm practicing this on the Pell, I will stand fairly far out in a middle guard, and I will actually step forward into a wrath to provoke this headshot, step forward sliding over, step out with the left, hit with the edge, throw this lower opening cut, the high hands, clashing cut, cut away. So one more time. Forward into wrath to provoke, step and slide, step out and cut, lower opening, clashing cut to the high opening, cut away. One more time towards the camera. The slide and winding cut behind the opponent's sword, I use this a lot in sparring. It's one of my favorite sequences. It can be a little hard to picture in this kind of isolation, so I'm showing you how I practice it as an individual Pell drill, because our focus in this series is using my plays as things to practice on the Pell. But I'm going to splice in a little clip of myself and Connor, one of my SEA students, doing this sequence with some alternate footwork, just so you can really see how the slide to winding cut behind their sword works. I think it can be kind of hard to picture without it, and so you can certainly practice it against the Pell with the footwork that Meyer describes, or with the alternate footwork that you see in the paired video. But it's a great sequence, and I think it'll be a lot of fun to practice.